EDU TV with 1 million eyeballs across the globe.
Connecting schools, universities, industries, and corporate houses.
Félicitations to EDU TV pour le travail brillant qu'ils font de promouvoir l'éducation sur la plateforme Internet. Merci à eux.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today, we are diving into the critical transition from schools to universities. Joining us are Professor Raghuvir Singh, Vice Chancellor, K.R. Mangalam University, Gurugram, and Dr. Hina Raj, founder and director of Dr. Hina's Finishing School. She had been also the principal of Global Indian International School in UAE. Together, let's explore how we can make this journey smoother and more enriching for our students. Thank you for being here. Let's dive in. Professor Raghuvir, Dr. Hina is preparing a student for 12 years, then hand over to you. So we just wanted to know how this transition can be more smooth. So we'll have the school's perspective first. I will request Dr. Hina to give her inputs and advice to the students, parents, everyone, and to her message to higher education also. Over to you, Hina ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prana. And yes, so basically when we talk about transition from school to university, it could be very personalized experience for every individual, depending on their attitude, aptitude, and based on their past experience. So according to me, they go through 3 stages: defreezing, consternation, and refreezing. So that transitioning from school to university, the very first reaction for most would be the fear of unknown. Getting out of the comfort zone of the cocooned walls of the classroom and school. There's a lot of uncertainty. And when we say that it is a VUCA world, which is volatile, uncertain, ambiguity is there, and it is complex. So the basic question comes is that how do we facilitate this? So that is where the school has to prepare children through a lot of activities, which should I continue, Mr. Pranav, that what all school can do?
Ma'am, let's have Professor Saab, so let's have a good, we can have a good conversation. Over to you, VC sir, Professor Raghuvir Singh.
Thank you, Pranavji. Thanks a lot for giving an opportunity to speak to the youngsters. Let me tell you, when a child comes to us university, he is thrown into a different situation altogether. In a school, he or she is highly, in a protected zone. Let me tell it, we're very protected. There are lots of do's and don'ts. Okay, there is a uniform. Most of them are quite regulated in terms of, what they do and what they should not do, the school as well as the parents. But the moment he or she switches to the university or a college, he or she finds himself or herself, very free. It's like removing shackles, let me tell you that. And when you are into a free environment, many times it is easy for someone to be misled. And many people, in fact, forget the limits. So I technically call it a child is implanted. Right? Now it's left to him whether he blossoms or he withers. Now, all of us want this to blossom. That's the purpose, why someone comes to the university. The purpose of coming to any university beyond academics is gaining confidence, developing social and peer connects, and learn the ability to deal with this complex environment, what Dr. Hina talked about, VUCA world, or nowadays we have another term called BANI world, BANI, BANI world. So when he is thrown to such a situation, I personally suggest that an individual have to learn how to blossom when he or she is implanted. Right. So the first thing what I suggest is let him or her find what is their locus of control. That means anything that happens to them, any event that happens to them in their life when they are in the college, who do they, put a responsibility? Whether they are putting it on to themselves or to others. We call it internal locus of control or an external locus of control. The more external locus of control you have, greater the problems with you. Now, in other words, I also suggest that let each one identify what are those controllable factors and what are non-controllable factors, so that they can make their own choices. The problem with most of the investors are they end up make choices about non-controllables. That means situations and actions and results, especially results, over which they don't have a control. They in fact start making choices about it. I suggest them, you make a choice about controllables. That means you decide what you can do or you can't do. And if you start taking decisions about what you can do, I mean, you are misled. Suppose, simple thing, like I want to become, in a university system, I want to be the topper of the class. Being a topper is not in your control. What is required to be done to be a topper is under your control. So do everything that, helps you towards the topper. You will be or not be is not under your control. The day you understand this distinction, most of your stress, most of your worries would go away, and you actually gain the control on yourself. You start gaining gradually the control on your choices which you make, because every choice you make in your life has its own consequences. If you don't make right choices, you can never expect right consequences. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, Dr. Hina, like to have your input.
Absolutely wonderful. Professor Raghuveer has pointed a few things about to be or not to be in the world where now you are responsible for your own self. Now there is nobody dictating you, guiding you. You have to have your own moral compass. But still, what I feel is that apart from that, all those, yes, they have to do it themselves. But how do school facilitate this transition as smooth as possible? So I think the schools could have career fairs and school counselors play an important role. What is there? Like they have the counselors can talk to them, prepare students about the available courses, curriculum, assessment pattern, choice-based credit systems, and profile building, and more. So on the technical part, when they are comfortable, and then comes the emotional part, the social part. So we have to make sure that children are first technically very sound to go to an unknown world out of that cocoon classroom walls and with the helicopter parenting these days. We know that parents live their life through their children. So they have not been to university, or they wanted to be a doctor or an engineer. And if they are not, they are living those dreams through their child or children. And there again, we have to bridge that gap, and we have to ensure that parents are also counseled, because it is not your only the children. So students exchange program prior to this university transition could also help a lot. And a strong alumni association, I would say, could be a beacon actually, because that would also help them to have that comfort wherever, whenever they want to go to. and that familiarity grounds are there, and then they are switching from known to unknown. So all these things, if the school prepare, I think it becomes a very cushioned transition as much as possible.
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Hina has actually hit the nail. And she pointed out these three important domains: technical, social, and emotional. And at least I can talk about my own university, KR Mangalam, what we do about it. So the first thing which we have in our mind, make a student comfortable in the new implanted situation. Right. How do we do that? We have a 1-week induction program. The purpose is to introduce the child to the university and its various systems and subsystems. And similarly, introduce the child or university to the child. We also try and understand what are their aspirations, what are their expectations, what are their issues, and what are their problems. No doubt about it. So this 1 week, in fact, brings down their expectations, and they are brought very closer to the reality. And during this period, they are also told how this next 3 year or 4 year, depending on the program duration, they would be led through the learning experience. You know, if you go back 10 years back or today, the universities have undergone quite a shift in terms of the teaching learning systems and processes. Today, I don't talk about education delivery. I talk about learning experience. So the kind of terminology what we have started using over the last couple of years has completely undergone a change. I come from a private university, so I would more speak about them. I have a less experience of dealing with the government university, what kind of terminology they use. So once a child joins, our learning experience is on 4 different dimensions. The first dimension is learning inside the classroom and outside the classroom. Second dimension is your social connect. The third one is an industry connect. And the fourth one is innovation ecosystem. And it is not surprising that we give equal focus to all of these 4 dimensions. We have, different teams for innovation ecosystem, a teams which takes care of the social connect. For example, KR Mangalam University has adopted 6 different villages around the campus. And we do lots of interaction. Even today, I have signed 2 programs.
That is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, where our children will go to the village.
Wow, that's great.
And one of the program is from the pharmacy college, which is going to take a kit from us and test them physically, the people around, and assess their health.
Beautiful.
And second team is from our engineering. They are going around to a village. They do a 2-day program. First day in the university itself. So through the skit and various other activities, they are letting us know and creating awareness about cyber crimes. And the next day they are going to the village and doing the same thing with those village people. What kind of cyber crimes happen, how to avoid themselves. And likewise, I'm just giving 2 examples of today itself, which I did. So there is a continuous interface with society around you. And initially, there was a hesitancy for the rural people to accept. But, subsequently, these are the genuine people. They really want to spread things or awareness about it. They have no other, reason to be here. So what's happening? A child is actually thrown into the real world, and he also shown the different face, what real life is. And similarly, they keep visiting to the industry. So they are then taken very close to the actual work which they are supposed to do. So this is how we, in fact, make the children closer to what reality actually demands. That is it.
That is commendable, sir. Students going to the villages and helping everyone, the citizens of our country. I think amazing work you are doing.
Yeah, in fact, this Dr. Hina's finishing school, which now I have founded, that was one of the reasons that how do we prepare children? And it's very, very useful to the university where the entire 6 weeks intensive program of finishing school is that giving that finishing touches about knowing yourself, communication skills, where meta-verbal communication, digital communication, where we talk about goal setting, where we talk about negotiation skills, because life is all about negotiating.
True. Every step.
Those skills, then managerial skills, entrepreneurship skills, and basically employability skills, how to make them industry ready. So that is what Hina's finishing school has, this module, and it's a 6-week intensive program to prepare especially the school and the university kids.
Great work, Dr. Hina. Great work. I must appreciate you. That's what is most needed. In fact, I personally, I'm from management and about 30 years into management education. Yeah. And for last couple of years, I started delving into, behavioral science. And I'm developing quite a bit. Leadership is my core area where I look at. And in leadership, my focus is on self-leadership. And that is what is actually needed with these children. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead others. And this is all psychology, let me tell you. It's all psychology. If you're prepared from here, the rest all is done.
Absolutely, Professor.
So, right now, I'm doing a workshop on self-leadership with my senior team, and then I'll go to my faculty members, and then we'll take to the students. This is my plan. Okay.
Wonderful.
And I did it in my previous university. I mean, it makes you change.
Absolutely beautiful. Because in UAE, we were exposed as principals, we have to undergo the certification. In fact, the ministry test exam, we have to qualify. And under that, we used to have this leadership, authenticity in leadership. So authentic leadership, ethical leadership. How do you become an ethical leader and a strategic leader? So all through case studies and through, building those cases, and how do you talk about, say, Ratan Tata, that, there is no wrong decision, but once you take a decision, you have to make it
stand
right.
on it. You take it through. Because success and failure are the two sides of a coin. How do you look at it? If you failed, you will learn. If you succeeded, you don't learn much. Success doesn't teach you much. It's a failure which teaches you a lot. And this is what, in fact, we got to teach these young kids. The biggest problem with our kids is obstinacy. That means I have to succeed at any cost. No, don't succeed at cost. Succeed generally. Succeed in the flow.
Yeah.
So they have to learn to flow.
Somewhere we are responsible because we have made it economic success as success.
Yeah, that's a big problem. So, Dr. Pranav, it's
only
important.
Pranav, sir, only Pranav.
Yeah, sorry. It's important that when we talk to the children, we talk with certain, psychology behind. In simple words, not theory. I'm not a big fan of theory, but I do keep theory in back of my mind, because what I speak, it comes from theory, but I love to make it simpler, so that one can practice it. Similarly, I teach another thing called habit cycle. You know, a lot of children, a lot of faculty members in life tend to get into a different mold. You know, say for example, if you are implanted in a new situation, you start accepting it not as a challenge, but as a defeat. Now, this is where I say, you become what you practice. If you respond to the new situation, new people, in that particular manner, that means you are learning to be defeatist. You are learning it. And you start practicing it. You know, somebody said, if you become what you practice, and said, if you start worrying, people say you start worrying about a buffalo which you even don't have. This is what a practice can do to you. So if you want to be, a good person, a perfect person, practice every day, whatever you want to do, and you'll find yourself blossoming in that particular area. That's my simple take in life. Don't just do it every day.
Absolutely. 21-day cycle and then 50-day cycle, and then they become a way of life. Then
Subsequently it becomes a way of life. See, that habit cycle, if you look at, it starts with a cue, right? And it starts with a trigger, then goes a trigger, then there is a response, and then there is a reward. So if you find the reward in what you do, the cue is available, right? And that cue will trigger in you something. So, but if you want to get rid of the bad habit, if you're developed, then think it in two terms. Remove yourself from the queue, if you can. If not, then stop triggering. If you can't, then at least don't respond. If you can't avoid responding, then don't like that reward, what you get out of it. You can change your habit for good. Thank you, Pranav. Thank you, Dr. Hina. It's a pleasure meeting you and exchanging views with you. Look forward to meet again.
The feeling is mutual, Professor. And it has been wonderful listening to you. Thank you, Mr. Pranav.
EDU TV with 1 million eyeballs across the globe.
Connecting schools, universities, industries, and corporate houses.